I'm excited about this team. I think everybody that stands here at this time says the same thing. I said this last year. I didn't know what we had. Everybody last year was in a new role. I had never coached a team before where everybody on that team was in a new role. We ended up doing really well. This is a different team. We're not as big as we've been, but I think we're every bit as deep and versatile. I am really excited about the blend of youth and experience that we have. We have 3 starters returning. We put together, without question, the most difficult schedule that I've ever put in front of our team. So obviously I feel like they can handle it. I'm excited for the challenge. So we'll open it up to questions.
Questions for Coach McCaffery. 4th row in the back, Coach.
Hey, Coach Myron Metcalf, ESPN. You've obviously coached one of the greatest players we've seen in Luka Garza. Going forward, how difficult will it be to hold on to top talent with all of the movement in college basketball via the transfer portal?
Yeah, I think if you treat your players the way they're supposed to be treated, you look out for them, you're cognizant of the NIL world and help in that capacity. But if you coach them up right, you treat them right, you look out for them, I think for the most part, guys will stay.
We got 3rd row on your left here.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. Coach, how do you think the amount of turnover from some of the top players in the league from last year to this year is going to impact just like the league-wide?
I think anytime that happens, it's obviously going to be a change. You know, you have expectations for veteran teams at this time of year. So this year, while we have some players departing, a lot of teams are still veteran teams. Even though they have new players, they're veteran players. So I do think it makes it interesting to see, you know, where we're going to end up. People predict this, you know, who's first and who's last and who's everywhere in between, but that's why we play the games.
3rd row on your left, Coach.
Fran, John Fanta, Fox Sports. What kind of progress, what kind of leaps have you seen over the summer and at this stage from Kris?
I think what you would have expected to see. He was terrific last year. He's, I think, had a really interesting spring. You know, he worked out with his brother, put his name in, and did the NBA stuff. I think that was good for him. Did really well, and I'm really proud of him because, you know, I think it's safe to say he probably could have taken a 2-way deal and, you know, perhaps been in the league, but he's betting on himself to come back and be a first-round pick. I have a lot of respect for people that do that. It was his choice. And it'll be the first time in his career that he hasn't played with his brother. I mean, going, obviously, every team, and I saw him play a lot growing up, same age as my son Patrick, so since 4th grade on, I've watched the 2 of them grow up. They've always been on the same team, and now they're not. And we're thrilled for Keegan, but we're thrilled for Kris. Kris is going to have a spectacular season. He's playing with great confidence. His body looks different. He's much stronger. Shooting the ball with great confidence, posting up more, driving the ball. He was always a really good defender with his length, and he's a really good rebounder, and we need him to do that.
Coach, 2nd row on your right.
Hi, Fran. On your right, Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. Obviously, Iowa is returning champion in men and women in the tournament. Can you speak to the dynamic, I guess, of support that you've seen the men's team show the women's team and vice versa? It's something that I've observed is pretty interesting and unique.
Yeah, I think it starts with there's a tremendous amount of respect amongst our coaches, Lisa and I, and all of our assistant coaches, but I think most importantly with our players. You know, they really support each other, they respect each other, but I think they're really good friends. And I think, you know, if you go to our games, they're going to be there. If we go to their games, our guys are going to be there. And it's real and it's genuine, and that's the way it should be.
Coach, 4th row on the left side.
Fran, Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. I was wondering about with Kris. Is there a special kind of pressure on him because of being a twin brother of the guy who was a superstar last year? And I mean, because they look so much alike, there might be an expectation that, you know, he'll deliver, you know, a carbon copy of the season that Keegan put out there last year.
I think that's a fair assessment, but I don't think it's true. Like if you're around these two guys, they're different. Their games are different. Their personalities are different. Kris is really a confident guy, and Kris is probably more verbal than Keegan was. I kind of wish he could just be himself and not continually be asked that same question, because he's a completely different human being. They just look alike. If Aaron White was replacing Keegan Murray, we wouldn't be asking these questions. But like I said, it's a fair question. They look alike, and Keegan was so spectacular. I think that obviously is something that we would always hope that Kris puts up those kind of numbers, and he may, but he may not. But I can tell you this, he's going to be really good, and I do feel like he's going to end up being a first-round pick.